Next one I've got is I will definitely get tax estimates as part of my quarterly submissions. That's my next one. Is
So
that
that's
your
true.
thoughts?
Yeah, so that is true. That is something that the revenue have built um into the system and that the commercial software will provide. So you will have estimates of your tax. Now, that might be helpful for some people. I don't like to pretend that some people won't find some of this helpful. You'll also get potentially prompts. So, for example, if it looks like you're going to go over the VAT threshold, there should be a prompt to say, have you considered VAT registration? Again, that might be helpful. There are pitfalls with having tax estimates. There are pitfalls with those prompts. I am not a fan of tax estimates in year. I think that generally speaking, any of the information that I see coming through from my clients on from their government gateway as it chucks
Yeah.
up, generally isn't very well understood by the
No.
client anyway. So the thought of having an actual tax figure there in front of my client does frighten me a little bit
Yeah.
because those estimates are not going to consider other income. And even if they don't have the person doesn't have any other income, they're also only going to take that snapshot up until whenever that quarter is. So if you've got somebody that doesn't have a linear year, so that a seasonal worker, for example, that tax estimate is going to be
Mm.
wildly out potentially. Um, I think it's going to cause more problems than it solves for most people, although again, it's being billed as something excellent and very, very helpful. I think people's knowledge of how tax works is so very bad in
Yeah.
general that I'm a little worried that some of those tax estimates people are going to think are tax due
Mm.
and will therefore make payment because it's
Perhaps
just
that's
chucked up a
intentional.
figure. I wonder if it is.
Mm.
Wouldn't like to say, Tom.
But the thing for me is, as
Yeah,
accountants, I lose count every year of how many incorrect PAYE coding notices clients receive.
yeah,
We've got an absolute shambles at the moment with correspondence regarding class two national insurance.
yeah.
The systems aren't working now. So these
Well,
tax
quite
estimates, I will be saying to every single client I've got,
ignore it.
do not use it as fact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I mean, tax codes are a whole nother beast, aren't they? With things that look like tax due for the year,
Yeah.
and actually it's just the figure that needs to go in the tax code to collect a certain amount of tax in. I can't see it working brilliantly well, unfortunately, and I'm not just trying to be obtuse about it. I really don't like the
Mm.
thought of those estimates, and of course, most or a lot of people that are going to be under MTD are already making payments on account, so they already advance pay their tax and provided that there isn't a huge swing year on year on their income, or sorry, their profit,
Yeah.
then they kind of know in
Yeah.
advance what the tax payments are going to be. Of course, and I always encourage my clients to try and keep in touch to give me an update if anything changes so that we can manipulate those payments on account accordingly. I don't need them to have quarterly
Yeah.
estimates.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I know the revenue keeps saying we have no intentions of changing the payment on account system.
Nah.
But I would be so
Okay.
surprised if by the next government they are not talking about moving it to quarterly. They're going to go, we've got all this information. Let's have this bumper 1 quarter bonus, basically, where we bring in all
Yeah.
this additional tax revenue.
The sad thing is, I think many people would then understand why MTD is being done. I think then it would make it not more palatable. I think that's maybe the wrong expression, but more understandable. And in some ways, is probably the sticking point for many in the MTD therapy group that don't love the thought of MTD coming in, is the thought of what's the point? And at least if there were
Oh,
tax
totally. Yeah. Yeah.
points
If
coming
it
off of
was,
it,
we're changing it
then
to
there would be
we're
a
going to
point.
collect quarterly tax, we would go, okay, law's changing on that. There is a
That's what we've got to do.
purpose.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree.